Welcome to Through the Lens of Astrology. I'm your host, Heather Arielle, and this show is all about the transiting moon. So, the moon has a 28-day cycle. So, every 2.5 days, it transitions into a whole new zodiac sign. It is a very fast cycle, but it is such an important one for a couple of reasons. When we really get in tune with the moon cycle, we just get a whole extra layer of knowledge of how we personally interact with our energy. And astrology is so personal. We talk a lot about how astrology is symbolic, and so sometimes it's so good at seeing the big picture, and then we get into all this language of symbolism, and sometimes I think we can become a little detached. At least that's the feedback I get from some clients when we want to grasp it on a symbolic level because it is symbolic, but it is also deeply personal. But this is how to make it personal. This is what this episode is about. How can you take these symbols and find some really sensitive, nuanced, profound personal meaning? Okay, and it's going to take a little participation. It's going to take your participation. So, okay, so I'm going to take you today. Where I'm going to take you through the transiting moon through all 12 astrological houses. We're going to do the first 6 houses, and then I'm going to take you above the chart, and we're going to go 7 through 12. Before we begin, if just please go to my YouTube and subscribe. I'm gonna be putting this up as a video as well, and it'll help me a lot if you support me on YouTube because I'm really trying to get that going, and I want to put more videos up. And leave me some comments. Let me know if there's a topic you want me to talk about. I will do my best to make a video on it. So, okay, the moon. All right. The moon is the most mysterious part of the chart. And one reason is because it really represents knowledge that we are least conscious of. Okay. So when we have moon energy, it is energy that we can sense, we feel, right? But it's not necessarily, if we have a strong moon transit or a moon, we may not be that aware of it unless we really say, okay, the moon is in this sign, it's in this house, let me consciously activate it, because it is very easy to kind of just slide right through a moon transit. Now, the moon, yeah, because it represents feelings, right? The moon is water. It represents feelings. It is connected to Cancer, the most sensitive sign of the zodiac, and the most personal sign of the zodiac. It's connected to the fourth house, which is at the bottom of the chart. And remember the chart. So get your chart out. Remember, there are 12 astrological houses, and each house represents an area of experience. So you really want to be able to look at your chart and know, go to 9 o'clock, pretend it's o'clock, and make sure you know, well, what zodiac sign is on that is at 9 o'clock, because that gets your whole chart rolling. That represents your first house, your ascendant, your physical body. It's like, oh, push forward. Okay. And then if that is your first house, just go counterclockwise, and then you can mark off all 12 houses, and just make sure you know what zodiac sign is on each cusp. That just opens a beautiful, beautiful window of knowledge. When you know that, you can do so much with just that simple information. So if you can put that together, then you can really enjoy this episode as I take the moon through all 12 houses, and how you can really connect with it. Okay, now here's the moon. And this card, I should say, these cards are the beautiful watercolors that you see. Those are by artist Tom Cummins, and they are just just so they really transport me. And when we're talking about the moon, okay, now you do hear me say with these oracle cards that we look at what it says. There are these beautiful messages, and then there's the beautiful artwork. So okay, so it's hidden forces are in play. Here, I'll just read the whole message. Hidden forces are in play. So sometimes with the moon, um, things are hidden because there's that monthly cycle. And then we have a new moon, which we talk so much about that on the show. Every new moon, I do the new moon oracle card spread with you all. And that opens up a 2-week window, right? Where anything we start grows and blossoms. And whatever we can then take something that maybe we were already working on and just give it that push forward. And so between the new and full moon, it's I can see clearly now. The fog is lifting. You'll soon have the answers you need to make an informed decision. But then with the waning moon, uh, then things can be a little hidden, and it's a little hard to figure things out. And that's when we reach out. We ask our guides to gently lift the veils to help bring clarity to the situation. Okay, so the moon, so sensitive, so personal. It rules our emotions, it rules the past, it rules our earliest home environment, it rules our home. Uh, all the time. It rules our home. It rules female energy, so sisters and wives and mothers and female friends. And it rules the public. If you have anything to do with the public, you're going to want to know what's going on with your moon, because that is going to influence how other people see you. Okay. Now, the moon, I love the moon cycle for a couple of reasons. One, if you're just starting out, okay, say you're really fascinated by astrology, but you don't know where to begin, because yeah, I get that a lot. It can be so overwhelming. Start with the moon cycle. Every 2.5 days, the moon will go into a new zodiac sign. And that's going to give you 2.5 days to figure out how you personally connect to that energy. Because a lot of times, some of the transits, we can have transits that last years. So the way that what we really want to learn, how do we react, because this is the personal part. This is why it's so important that you do your work. So when you go to an astrologer and an astrologer tells you all these things, you have to do your work. I think of the JFK quote about the country, where it says, "Oh, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." It's We got to bring our free will, and we got to bring that. Okay, bring that. If you have any interest in astrology and you want to incorporate astrology into your daily life, make sure that you're going to receive what that astrologer tells you, and then says, "Okay, well, what can you do?" And you can chart your personal connection to your energy. And you can do this on your own with just any journal. This is the whole reason behind why I created my Astro Planner workbook, is to help you do that in a very personal way. So then you can look back and you can say, "Oh, I felt like this and I did this." And you'll be like, "Oh, wow, every time the moon is in Aries, I get a little more, zip in my step." You'll start to notice the cycles. So start with the moon cycle, and it's going to really tell you so much. Now, in addition, if you're an advanced student, always go back to the moon cycle, because as I say, we are all going in and out of balance all the time. Okay. Hey, I'm right there with you, going in and out of balance. Okay. I always say that I am part of the group. I am not above it. And one of the things that I love to do when I do get a little out of whack, right? Because we all have those, we all have those events, right? Okay. I go back to the moon cycle and I really follow and say, "Okay, I'm in a Gemini moon right now. All right, I'm going to connect to my most playful self." It's like, "Oh, okay, it's a Cancer moon. All right, I'm going to nurture myself." So, it's a way, it's just an extra tool that you have to help you bring yourself back into balance, right? Because that's what it's all about. It's don't even give it a second thought when you go out of balance, okay? Because that's part of life. That is part of the human condition, right? Because everyone has free will. So everyone, you, it doesn't matter, you can do your thing, but yeah, that's other people are going to do their thing, and it might not really support what you're doing. And that's just the deal. So it's important that when we do have these kind of stressful interactions, right, they can kind of like, ooh, I'm getting out of balance. Another tool, all right, get back to the moon cycle, all right? In addition, of course, I love the meditation and all the other things that we talk about, right? We recommit to our spiritual routine. But this is just another tool that maybe I've not talked as much about. Now, I also want to say with the moon. Okay, so yes, I was showing these beautiful cards, and yes, they're wonderful messages, and there's also the gorgeous artwork with the moon because there is that intuitive, it's really the least conscious part. I recommend when you're really trying to connect to moon energy, uh, don't worry so much about the message. Don't, it's like we want to try to enter into a non-verbal state, even though, yeah, I know I'm going to talk your head off tonight to get you into that. But when you do the work, you want to really just look at the beautiful artwork. Yeah, just take that in. And you want to have an intuitive response because that's what the moon is. And I'm going to talk tonight about, how can we, um, it's all about connecting through our senses. So we're going to think about, well, what are the colors that are connected to zodiac signs? What are the textures? What are some foods, tastes, smells? It's like, how can we experience this energy? You want to experience moon energy because it's just so intuitive. All right. Now, so we'll talk about that. So for the first part, I'm going to take you through the first house through the sixth house, and this is what astrologers call, it's the bottom of the chart, right? So 9 o'clock is your first house, and then it goes, to the bottom until we get to the seventh house, goes above the chart. Okay. When energy is below the chart, it is more personal, and it is more of a time to make sure that it's not that you're not doing anything outward, but you definitely want to take some time to go inward and to have those, oh yeah, this is how I'm feeling, like give yourself those sort of private moments. Okay, now that was true except for the first house. So what I just said is true except for the first house. All right, the first house gets it all going, and because it is an angle house, it has huge forward momentum. Okay, but it is personal in that sense that it is about you. This is the house of self identity. This is your physical body. This is really how you think of yourself. It really is. So, when the moon is in that, it means you can, on a very emotional, intuitive level, you can really feel you can really feel especially alive because you're feeling your personality. You're not really as aware of it, but you're feeling it. And it's a way to connect to that. Now, okay, so what we're going to do, all right, is I'm going to take you through the six houses, and then I'm going to take you through the signs that represent that, and then how we can put that together. Okay. So keep in mind the first house is really, who am I? And especially, who am I to other people? Like, how do I like to present myself to other people? And it's how do you see yourself? Right. And it's like the energy that you are most comfortable giving off. So in that way, yes, it's about how other people see you, but they're seeing you that way because it's because that's what you're most comfortable revealing. All right. Now, the second house, the house of values, of self esteem, of personal possessions. And, it's about emotionally connecting to that house as the moon goes through it. It's like making sure that you feel that area, because this is the way to activate that area of experience. The 12 houses, each is an area, and we want to wake it up. We want to activate it. That's what transits do. The transiting moon activates it in a deeply sensitive, emotional feeling way. Okay. And the best, yeah, okay. So I'm gonna just describe the third through sixth, and then I'm gonna give some examples with the signs. Okay, the third house, house of ideas. What are you thinking? What you thinking? Short distance travel, siblings, and then um like little day trips, fun little day trips in your neighborhood. Okay. Now, the fourth house, which I don't know where oh, here's the fourth house. I do have that card. Okay. That's your home, your family, past lives, if you believe in that. And it's very, very early experiences that get triggered throughout our lives. So we always want to be extra aware when we have a profound transit to our moon, our fourth house, or we have a lot of Cancer planets. We can have a lot of triggers, things that we think we healed, and it's like, oh, not yet. Got to do a little more work there. Okay. And then fifth house is the fun house. It's self-expression. Be creative, play sports, be physical, be romantic. I mean, definitely express yourself. Do a little Madonna, express yourself with the fifth house. And the sixth house, your ideas of being of service, your daily routine, and your health. We want to, it's a very specific house, the sixth house. Okay. So below the chart, the moon is transiting. All right. Now, when let's combine it with some of these zodiac signs. Okay. Now, moon in Aries. And what I want to say is, let's try to find one or two words, because I talk a lot about the nuance and duality of astrology, but I am getting I'm getting a lot of feedback that because astrology is it's so nuanced that sometimes it's hard to hang a hat on something. So I'm trying to, with this, pick one or two words that maybe just to help bring us back so we don't go down the rabbit hole. Okay, so Aries, fearless. All right, think of Aries, think of fearless. All right, so wherever Aries is in your chart, you want to be a little more fearless. Okay, you want to take a risk. So even if you're totally not a risk taker, that's okay. You don't have to become a risk taker. You just want to become more of a risk taker than you normally are. Okay. So if the moon is in Aries and it's going to activate that house for 2.5 days, then you want to know, well, what is the area of that experience? And you want to go ahead and be a little more fearless and have that forward momentum. So if it's in your third house, okay, then if you combine fearlessness with your ideas, the house of ideas, then you want to be a little more fearless and say, you know what? This is what I believe. And it's sort of like and you're going to put it out there. You're going to put your ideas out there. It's also, since it's short day trips, it could be you're going to want to go to some places that are maybe you're going to want to go rock climbing, that it's still a very short day trip, but you're going to maybe want to take a day trip that's a little more exciting. Okay. There's that fearlessness, that fearless energy. Okay, I'm seeing that guy who I can't think of his name, but he was so fearless, and he was all over the rocks, and then he well, he got stuck in a rock or whatever, but they made that movie about him. But anyway, it's just that fearless. I just see somebody like leaping from rock to rock. Okay, so just go ahead and embrace that. So that's an example. So I'm going to tell you a couple of words to associate with the zodiac sign. You're going to want to put it with the word feeling so you connect on an emotional level to it. Okay. And then you connect it to the area of experience. Okay. Now, to give you another example about Aries, all right. It's fearless. But also think about, well, what kind of color? I always associate it with red, with very strong, vibrant, spicy colors. Well, that leads me into food, some kind of like spicy, strong food. I mean, that's just, hey, this is personal. This is personal. So, what I'm suggesting is that you connect with your senses, through your senses, to each zodiac sign with the moon, because it's the moon we want to connect through our senses. That's the point. If it were the sun, that's much more conscious energy. We would be looking at the messages. So, that's why it's a different approach for each planet. Okay. So, and another thing that you can do, think about, I often have Carolyn Oakley on, independent publisher and graphic designer, and my publisher, and her partner is an astrologer, and I love it. And I've talked about this on the show, I just love it. He actually changes his t-shirt every time the moon changes, and I mean to the minute. Yeah, to the minute. And that's how I know when I'm around them. It's like all of a sudden he'll go out. I'm like, oh, okay, you were in a Taurus t-shirt. Okay, now we got some little Gemini going on. All right. So choose your clothing. Like, that is a way to connect to the astrological energy. If you really want to feel that fearless Aries, well, then dress, put a shirt on that makes you feel it. Okay, the color, maybe the texture, and think about what kind of food do you want to make, and then that activity to kind of connect with that energy. And then I do a lot of Twyla Tharp. I love it. It's all about how to physicalize energy. I'm really into that, because I'm always, if you're around me, I kind of never stop moving, and I kind of never stop dancing. I'm always like snapping my fingers, moving. That's just how I am. So maybe that's why I like to physicalize energy so much. But it is a suggestion that that's another idea of, take that energy and say, well, what kind of movement do you feel? If Aries is fearless and it's fast, you may want to, do like very fast movements, and something that makes you feel strong. So, but it's personal again. But again, anytime that you can get this energy in your body, you can think about the color that it is. You can think about how it's connected, like what's the smell? Maybe there's a certain cologne or perfume, or it's all of that. It's going to help you connect in a very visceral way to your senses, and it's going to make the energy come to life, and you're going to be able to learn what astrology means for you in such a personal way. And when you get out of balance, no matter how advanced of an astrologer you get, I mean, you can be an astrologer. Hey, I'm an astrologer. I go right back to this. I go right back to the basics. It grounds you, and it reconnects you, and it balances you. It brings in that beautiful equilibrium, and it gets you back in a cycle, which is so important. And it is a fast cycle. 28 days, you did it, you got it, you're back on track. Okay, so Taurus. All right. Taurus is stabilizing, and it is of the senses. So with moon in Taurus, all right, you definitely want to really think about, I mean, Taurus really does rule a lot of, fashion designers. It's what is the texture? Really think about, well, the clothes you put on that with the moon in Taurus. What does it really feel like? That's gonna really, and all the senses. This is ideal for what I'm suggesting you do with all the signs. Definitely do it with Taurus. What is the smell? Like, what are the smells that you think of like that? It's very earthy energy. If you can spend time in nature with moon in Taurus, and really indulging in all those senses in a very non-verbal way, oh boy, you're going to get a lot out of that energy. Okay, and it's also, it's very, yeah, it's a very stabilizing energy as well. Okay, and then with Gemini, all right, think about connecting and communicating, all right? So, and this is also very, very playful. And so I like to say, with Gemini, I got a lot of Gemini, and so I do it all the time, but Moon and Gemini, snapping fingers very, very, very fast. That that to me really feels like Gemini. You know, and often say Gemini's like popcorn. It's like it's like very, very fast. It goes all over the place, and you're never going to catch it all, but just, enjoy what you do catch. You never get the whole Gemini. But and so it's that kind of energy that you want to connect to. All right. And so then all of a sudden, if the moon is in Gemini in your fourth house, okay, for those 2.5 days, I mean, think about using your communication, communicate about your home, talk to people in your home, maybe do a family reunion, call some of your family, get some family members together. That's that kind of energy. It's like using the Gemini energy in your home, and you got like a 2.5 days. It's a quick hit. So you kind of just like a quick reset. That's what we want. We're always looking for these quick resets. Really don't be hard on yourself at all for needing a reset. We all need resets, and that's why we do this. Is we do the work so then we can ask the right questions, and then we can have all these tools to get right back into it. Okay, now Cancer is, oh my goodness, it's so nurturing, so nurturing. So with the moon in Cancer, you want to nurture yourself. I think of water, I think of waves. Carolyn Oakley was on, and we did some movements to Cancer, and she had a beautiful one with the waves. I kind of like to feel that I'm like hugging myself. So connect to it however you want, but definitely nurture that area. If you got Cancer moon going through your second house, nurture your self-esteem, nurture your values, nurture your earned income. Really think with love about how can you, if you're thinking about how you earn money. But this is the house of self-esteem, so it means we don't have to wait for other people to nurture us, right? We can give ourselves self-esteem, and so with Cancer, if Cancer is on your second house cusp and the moon is going through there for 2.5 days, find ways to nurture yourself that builds your confidence and your self-esteem. That's a beautiful little feeling, That's great. Okay, now Leo. All right. Leo is celebrate. And I'm going to repeat again the word, all right? So that we're kind of doing big picture, and then, the word that you want to associate. So then you can really do this at home. All right. So Leo, celebrate. I mean, Leo's about a lot of things, but if we're going to pick one word for this, for the moon cycle, think of celebrate, okay? And it's fire and it's out there. All right. So say you want to, um, well, that goes with the fifth house. Okay, let's say your Leo moon is in the sixth house. That's an interesting combination. I mean, or say Leo is on the cusp, but then when the moon is in Leo, it's in your sixth house. Celebrate your daily routine, celebrate your work, find ways. That means look at your daily routine and make sure, is it giving you pleasure? Because sometimes I'm like, oh, ho, hum, this is the routine, and all routines are boring, and that's just the way that goes. No, if you've got Leo energy on your sixth house, you're supposed to have fun. There's supposed to be a celebratory, fun, exciting, creative. It also means allow yourself to be creative when you put together your routine. Some people can be very, very, it's like if there's a Capricorn there, then it's like, okay, chop, chop, chop. If you got Leo there, and the moon is in Leo for 2.5 days in your sixth house, just that's your chance to get creative again, to make sure, look at your routine and say, am I being as creative as I could be with my routine? I think it can be more fun. Celebrate that area, okay? Whatever area Leo is on, you want to make sure you celebrate, and you want to make sure you're celebrated, okay? All right. Now we have Virgo. All right. So Virgo, now that is to be of service. It is craft. It is the desire to perfect something so you can get really, it's like knitting. It's like very, very something that you really have to look closely at. You really have to look to see the details. So it's an area to really perfect. And let's see, maybe what have I not mentioned? Oh, I've not mentioned the first house with a sign. Okay. So say you're Virgo rising. All right. Well, then that means when the moon is in Virgo for 2.5 days each month, it's going to go into your first house. And that means go ahead and Virgo is about self-care as well. So that's a beautiful combination. It naturally supports the first house is the physical body, is you. Take care of yourself, and also, really think about perfecting as you're going forward, because that's starting a whole new cycle. So where the Virgo is, you want to go ahead and notice details. Okay, so the moon is in Virgo. That's the time to do really specific work and to indulge in that self-care. Okay, so to recap these, because now we're going to go, but before we go above the chart, so I just talked about the first through the sixth house. It's below the chart energy. It's more personal. You're going to take, and I just went through the first six zodiac signs. Okay. And you are going to take, just try to keep one word, all right, to keep it simple. Even if you even if you're a very advanced student, I think it's always good to go back to simplicity and to the basics, and to remember what is the essence of the energy, so we feel it in our body. And that is the biggest point. With the moon, you're going to want to take in the gorgeous artwork. You're going to want to connect. You want to do non-verbal activities to connect to moon energy. Okay. And okay, yeah. So we got, all right, we got the fearless Aries. We've got the sensual, stabilizing Taurus. We've got the communicator and the connecting energy of Gemini, and it's playful, nurturing Cancer. We've got celebratory, creative Leo, and we have got the beautiful self care and of Virgo, and the desire to really perfect something. Okay. Now, all right, before I get to above the chart, I do just want to ask you again to check out my YouTube, and I'm starting to add a lot more videos. Please subscribe if you haven't, and give me some comments. Let me know, what would you like me to do a video on, because I really will do my best to do that. And you can, the planner is on sale. I should also mention that. Okay, the 2021 Astro Planner and Activity Book. And I know some of you are thinking, well, what's halfway through the year? I'll tell you, one, it's like maybe what, 200, 300 pages? It's like 200 pages. And I have a lot of astrology activities, a lot of wonderful oracle card spreads. So and it's like half off now or something. So there's tons of things for you to do. And it's all about helping you to really connect in a very personal way to your energy. All right. So and then you can keep, and to keep a record of it, right? It's a very Virgo activity. Okay.